I went to my first national probably the second year that I started breeding, and I went on my own. I booked the flights on my own, I booked my accommodation to stay by myself, just me and my cat Jackie, and I went to the show on my own. And when I rocked up at the show, I didn't know what to expect, didn't know what was happening. It was a lot because the shows are really big. This weekend I think there's 400 cats, and so 400 cats, you can imagine how many people are actually there exhibiting as well. So it's a lot of people as well as the cats. So I thought that no one was really there to show me the ropes when I first started, and every national since then, I know when I go, I will turn around and see someone from Perth that I didn't expect to be there. I didn't know they were coming. They've come on their own, new people, and they were in the same situation that I was in all those years ago. And I think, oh, well, maybe this would be a good chance for me to share some information about travelling to a national, so that new people who are interested in travelling to a national might give it a go. And I'm travelling this time with my friend Tara, and Tara is a new breeder. She's been breeding dogs for a long time, but she's new to breeding cats. Not super new, but newish. But this is the first time she's gone to a national because they've all been cancelled. So she hasn't had a chance to go to one yet. So I'm going with Tara and her friend Vicki. And we're also meeting up with some breeders when we get there. We're sharing a house with two other breeders, Michelle and Janina. So there is 5 of us travelling to stay at the same place, and we have 6 cats between us. So that's going to be exciting and fun, and there's a lot to learn there about all of that. But the first step is to get up early and get on the plane. And we have all of our stuff packed. I have a suitcase, and in half of the suitcase is my stuff, and in the other half of the suitcase is all the cat stuff. Then we decided, even though we could hire cages, when you do the entry you can hire cages, we decided that we would take 2 of our cages because we were taking adults, and the only hire cages were the smaller size cages, and we didn't want to put our big adults in those cages. So we have a great big bag that's got 2 cat show cages in it, and it's also got a lot of pop-up tents, which is what we put the cats in to stay at the accommodation. So that's packed, and that's in the back here, and that's pretty heavy. So between us we've got, that's like a 22 kilo bag, and then I've got my luggage is 22.7 I think, so cutting it fine. But when you travel for a cat show and you're taking a lot of cats, you got to take a lot of stuff. I have a bag booked for the way back because chances are we will bring more back with us than we take. So I've got an extra bag to come home with. When you're packing for the national show, you pack like you would for a regular show, but just take less stuff. Because when you go to a regular show, you'll take stuff that you might need. But with a national show, you don't have the luxury of that when you're traveling on a plane. So I like to pack less stuff. So if you took a big bottle of cleaning stuff, you take a small bottle of that. If you normally would take like a whole heap of clips or a whole heap of this or a whole heap of that, anything like spare litter, all of that kind of stuff, you just leave that at home, because our show bags always fill up with stuff. So I don't take my show bag, I take stuff out of my show bag and pack it in my suitcase, and then on the day of the show I just take a small fold up bag with my stuff in it, and that's all I need. It's got a zip, we're all good. I don't need to take a great big bag. You put them in their carriers, they're going on a plane, so they need to have something warm that they've got to sleep on, something soft, and they will tell you to just put thin bedding in there. And what they're really talking about is they don't want the cats to have the carrier and then have this massive great big pillow in there, so the cat's actually got its head shoved up against the top of the cat box. They want the cat to have the full amount of the cat box so that it can move around, and you have to be thinking about, well, can they move around, are they going to be comfortable? They will just, settle down, and they won't sleep, but they kind of snooze. They're kind of like one eye open, kind of sleeping on the plane. They don't freak out. They're pretty good. They will just nestle down in their blankets and be good. So I take a towel on the base of the carrier, and then a thin pad, like a cat carrier pad. And then I also put a lightweight blanket in as well, because what I want there is for them to have something to bury under so that they can hide themselves if they want to. It's a bit rainy today. Apparently it's going to be really cold over there as well. And when you go to the national shows, there's a lot of extra options for things that you can do at the show. There's meet and greets, there's dinners, there's a few extra things that you can add on. There's a welcome thing. Normally on the Friday there might be like a welcome event. I don't generally go to that one. It's more the judges are there, so they get them all together and the show people. And it's not something I normally go to if you're traveling interstate, because it's a big effort to get over there, and you're going to want to spend that extra day that you arrive settling in your cats. And then there's, depending on the national show, there'll be a seminar or a judges meeting, different things like that. The seminar, if it's interesting, and depending on where I am and where I'm staying, I might go to that. This time I'm not. The dinner is on Sunday night, and we're going to the dinner. We've got, we're all going to the dinner, and our other friends that are travelling from Perth are going to the dinner as well, so we'll be going and catching up with all of them. We have a really big contingent coming over from WA. It's our group. There's also another group that have got another house that's got about 5 people staying in it too, with all their cats. And 2 of our Cats United members actually drove over. So they drove over in one of them owns a van, and they drove over in the van. So that was an extra, week either side that they'll have to do the driving, but they were really enjoying it. So that was pretty cool. But it is really, really hard to fly your cats over at the moment. It's expensive too. So to fly Herbert, Jessie, and Cuthbert over is costing me over $1,000. So yeah, it's a big investment to go to a national show. I think maybe if that's the way it's going to be in the future, it might just be that I might just pick my best cat, my cat with the best chance of doing well at the show, and go with them. Hopefully we'll come home with at least 1 ribbon. You just want to get 1 ribbon from the show, that's all I want. My friend Lucy, she's no longer with us. We used to always say, you just want 1 ribbon and then you're good. And so I remember being at shows, national shows, and when I got my first ribbon, or she got her first ribbon, we'd go and show each other and go, we got it, we're okay, we're done now. Yeah. And normally once you get 1, you get a few more, so that's great. There are lots of things to look at and see when you get there. There's stall holders. Take some cash. Take cash that's not $50 notes. See if you can break the notes so that you've got change. It makes life a bit easier. When you get in on the Saturday morning, then it's the best time to go and have a look, because all the good stuff goes quickly. So there might be beds or cage covers I'll be looking at. The best colours will go quickly, and the best sizes. So you want to get in on that. Take some change with you. There's lots of toys, there's teaser toys, there's always stands from the sponsors. One of the sponsors this year is Departure Pets. They're the people that are actually flying our cats for us. They did all the bookings because we had a lot of trouble getting cats onto flights out of WA. And I also know that Royal Canin is going to have a big stand, because Royal Canin are sponsoring the show. They'll have a big stand there. I am a Royal Canin ambassador, so I have my Royal Canin ambassador jacket in my suitcase, and I will be wearing that proudly for the weekend, because all of my cats have Royal Canin as their main diet, and that's just the reason that we go to shows and do as well as we do. A lot of it comes down to the care of your cats, how you look after your cats. You can groom them, you can have the best type in the world, but if they're not in good physical condition, then they won't be a good show specimen. So making sure that it's kind of like a secret weapon. I have a secret spray that I use when I'm grooming my cats for a show. I have my secret spray, and that's going to stay secret. But my other secret weapon is the fact that I feed my cats on a really good quality food. So Royal Canin is my choice. It has been for almost since when I began breeding, and I've fed my cats Royal Canin for so long and been so happy with it, and I couldn't imagine changing. So I'm excited to see the Royal Canin team. They're going to have a stand at the show as well. And then for the first time in a long time, I'm not planning on stewarding at this show. I've said that before, I'm being roped into it because there was no one there to do it, but this time I'm not. I am going to spend the show with my friends and just watching the show. I'll have to sit on my hands a bit because I get a bit bored just watching. That's why I normally am helping, but we'll see how we go. This is going to be just a I think they call it a vlog, a video log. And it'll be a bit annoying if there's, obviously at the moment there's car noise, you can hear the car, but there'll be, the audio is not going to be great, the video is not going to be great. But if you're really into exhibiting and showing and breeding your cats, then maybe the content will be interesting to you, even if the video is not that good. We'll see what happens. Now, let's talk about accommodation for the National Show. When you are travelling interstate, often the National Show will have on their schedules, which is the entry form for the show, they'll have different places listed that they've checked out and have got approval to have cats on the premises. And that can often be like motels. Sometimes it might be even a caravan park with little units. It just depends. It's very, very, very hard to get accommodation to travel with cats. It's a bit weird. People are not used to it. People don't know what it's about. People travel with dogs all the time and they're quite happy to have dogs, but they freak out if you say we're bringing cats, which is weird because the dogs are loose and kind of uncontrolled in terms of they will jump on things and if they're in the yard, they just poo and pee wherever they want. Whereas the cats, we keep them in tents and we keep them contained and we keep them with litter trays, and they're just a little bit more, I would think they would be better, but people don't really understand. So when you need to have accommodation for a national, if you choose to go with what the national recommends, that's great. But it's often motel unit type accommodation, and that means that you just have a bed and a space and a bathroom and that's it. What can be a really great idea, and what we've done for years and years, is to get a house and share it with some friends. Because when you do that, you get a whole kitchen, you get a laundry to wash stuff, you get, everybody gets their rooms, then you've got communal space where the cats can go. But here's the thing, you have to treat it like gold when you find a property that will take cats. Because if you leave it in a crappy condition, or you leave it smelling, or you leave it dirty, or the cats cause damage to the property, word gets about, then cats will get a bad reputation for being on properties and people just won't take us. And if they won't take us and you can't find accommodation, then you can't go to a national. So you have to be really upfront with them. The idea that some people just sneak their cats in and don't tell the people, yeah, sure, you can do that, but if you get caught, you'll get busted, and again, it causes a bad reputation for everybody. And a lot of the time, they're Airbnb and stays type of properties. The owner is maybe even living next door, so they will know. They will know. You need to invest in pop-up tents or soft crates or cages or something. You need to keep your cats contained while you're there. You can't just go there and let your cat out in the house like you would at home, even if it's a kitten. Because to start with, you're going to a national show, you're spending a ton of money on your entry form, you're spending a ton of money on flying there. You want your cat to be secure and safe, ready for the show. If you just go to the house and let them out, if it's happened to me, this was actually in a hotel though, not in a house, so I was really surprised. I let my cats out in the hotel room and then realized after an hour or two of them just wandering around in the place that the window was open and there was no fly screen. It had blinds on front of it, but it was completely open. And this was back when I was showing Susie, who's like 18 years old now, so that was a long time ago. And yeah, she didn't go out. It was nighttime. If she had have gone out, she would have been gone. So you can't be 100% sure that it's secure, and you also can't be 100% sure that there's nothing where they might get stuck in something or do something stupid, because they're not in familiar surroundings. They're going to look for a place to hide, and next thing you know, they've shot up behind some bookcase back that you can't get access to, and you can't get them out. Also, if you're grooming them because it's a national cat show and you want them to look their absolute best, you don't want them to find that there was, I don't know, a fireplace and they've gone up in there and come out black. So you need to contain your cats, but more importantly than that, you need to contain them because you need to make sure that they don't do anything to that property. You need to make sure they don't scratch the couch. You need to make sure they don't pee on something. You need to make sure they don't leave their hair on the soft furnishings. You don't want hair on the curtains. You don't want them to have a go at the neck curtains. Oh my God. Oh my goodness, drama. Now I can think of a few examples of where this hasn't happened. One example was an exhibitor left their cat loose in the hotel room while they were out, and the cat scratched up the couch, and they had to pay for that, a whole couch. Another time I remember a lady who had her cat in, she actually did have him in a soft crate, but he was a stud cat and he was very bad at spraying, but she just had him sitting on the carpet, and he peed so much in there that it leaked through to the carpet, and she got all stud cat urine in the carpet. That was a nightmare. I think they actually were talking about replacing the carpet. You don't want to be in that situation. Make sure everything is spotlessly clean. Don't let the cats out. Keep them in crates. You can use the bathrooms depending on where you are. We have used the shower recesses for cages. So we'll put the cats in there with their litter tray and their water and food, because it can all be washed out when they go. But don't let them roam around loose in the place. Don't let them get their fur on anything. Don't let them get their claws into anything. Don't let them spill their litter everywhere. Don't let their soft crates leak onto anything. Just keep them as clean as you can. Now with stud cats, you can. It's a really good idea to be able to have them outside or in a garage. Not many places have closed garages because the owners tend to keep their stuff in there when you're doing an Airbnb. But if you can get one like that, that's fantastic. Otherwise, you might have to put them outside on like a deck. So I've had Herbert out on a deck before. I've had my other cats out on decks or covered patios. Just fine. In their pop-up tents, and they've been fine like that. Herbert did have a situation last time where I woke up in the morning and I went out and I thought he was gone. I thought he was gone. I literally, I can still, it makes me feel a bit shaky thinking about it. I walked out to look at his tent and it was all crumpled up. And I thought, oh my God, something's happened and he's got out. Oh my God, he's gone. So I rushed over to it to see what had happened. And it wasn't unsealed. It was just folded up because they're foldable tents. And yeah, he had folded himself into the tent. He'd folded the tent up on himself. I think he was scratching at his litter tray and just pulled the sides in on himself, and he was just looking at me like, can you just unhook me here please? So I don't think he was folded up for long. He wasn't like super thirsty or hungry after I unfolded him. But after that I did put position chairs in a way so that it would stop him being able to do that. So that was a bit of a fright, but you need to make sure they're well sealed up. With the tents, a really good trick is to take a safety pin or even a paper clip or even a foldback clip, whatever, and take the two bits of the zipper and seal them together so they can't get out. And that way you can make sure that they're nice and safe. Now I'm just arriving at the place to do the drop off for the cats. I'm a little bit early. I'm hoping that my friend Tara is here because we're dropping them off together. And what happens is you drop them off at the flight. You have to drop them off a lot earlier than your actual flight, so you've got to be prepared for that. But if you're using a booking agent, they'll give you all the information. We used to do it ourselves, but it's been easier to do it with a booking agent to get the actual flight bookings these days. It's a little bit trickier than it used to be. So if you're flying Virgin from Perth, you drop them off at the Menzies depot, and it's just a gate, and you just rock up and give them the cats, and they check your paperwork. You have to have a form that you've got filled out. They check that all over, and then oops, I've come in the wrong way. And then the cats go on the plane, and they're fine on the plane. Don't freak out. They just kind of cozy down the same way they are in the cars. You can see my cats you can't even hear them. They're in the back. They're watching me and they're looking to see what's going on, but they don't really care. Okay, so we've arrived at the drop-off, and I just want to show you the cats in the bag there. There is Cuthbert. Herbert is in a bigger crate. You can see they've got cable ties on either side. They will tie them up for you normally when you arrive, but I like to do them myself at home so that the doors are secure. So the door is fully secured there with the cable tie. Cuthbert. And I have 2 more cable ties that are underneath their beds in there so that when we come back, I've got some for the return trip. they travel fine. You can imagine this is him now. He's pretty calm. You do need to have water containers in them. I hate it because they get wet and they don't actually drink from them. They literally will not drink from them. But I've got my little water containers there, and I've got a little funnel, and I'll fill them up just before we get on the plane. And that way, if you leave it for them to fill them up, they will fill them up really full and they'll splash water everywhere. And even when I've filled them, they still fill them up again. And the cats get wet, so that's why it's good to have a towel on the bottom of their base. That way they will stay drier, hopefully, but there's no guarantee. It's wet and cold, and I don't want them to be wet and cold. Because your cats all have cable ties on them, I really recommend when you get to the other end, when you pick them up, ask the people at the counter if they can actually clip the ties off, because they'll often have a set of pliers like that they'll use to do it, and they'll just go snip snip and the cable ties will be off. Otherwise you won't be able to open their cages until you get to your accommodation, and you've just got to hope that there's some scissors there. I do pack a pair of scissors in my suitcase, but you can't take them in your carry-on bag, so that makes it a little bit tricky. So you want to ask the people when you arrive, can you just unclip the cable ties, and then you can deal with them before you get to the accommodation, because you might want to, even if you just want to take the water out, or if they've got wet bedding or something, especially if you've got grooming, you don't want to have a wet cat when it's going to be groomed for the show. Okay, so we are, I don't know if you can hear us with our masks on, but we are at the airport. We've got our cats are on the plane. This is Tara. Hello, Tara. Hi. And we're just waiting to board. So the cats will go on last. We haven't seen them go on yet. Oh no, there they are. They're going on now. I'll see if I can get a video. Getting ready to pick the cats up.
That's it. Ben.
Well, it's Friday morning. The show is tomorrow. And here they are. So I've just come out to do their litter trays this morning, and Herbert's about to use his litter tray. What I've done is, these are the carriers that they came over in, and I put an extra blanket in each one of those, as well as their towels. So they have those in their pens now. This is the big bag we had our cat show cages in. We had that all strapped up, and it had curtains in it as well to keep the cages safe. These are the carriers that came in. You need to have flight approved carriers. You can't just travel with your regular cheap Kmart ones. These are ones that I don't use very often, but I do use when I'm flying. You can see they've got all the locking nuts on the side, so they have to have the proper screws and the proper things. They have cable ties. We cable tie them in, and when we got to the airport to pick them up, when we arrived into Brisbane, they'd actually put extra cable ties on there, so the cats were really well and truly sealed in, and the man was really great and got his little pliers out and clipped off all the cable ties for us, so that was fantastic. And then we bought this bag of Breeder's Choice on the way in from the airport, so we had some litter to go. That's the only size they had at the IGA, but that'll actually be enough probably for the weekend, and we can maybe grab another small bag if we need it. Herbert is using his tray right now like a good boy, which is actually really good, because you want, when you arrive and they've been on the plane and it's very stressful, it's not stressful for them, but it's different for them, they often will hold on and not go to the toilet. So you want them to go to the toilet, you want them to pee, poo, eat and drink, and then we're good. Now you can see he's got a little, I don't know if you can see, I'm going to put this on the top, see if you can see it. There he is. So he has his pink, it's pink. He has a pink little bed there. That was actually in his cage when we came over, his carrier when we came over. And because we have a house, it's really good because you get a washing machine and a dryer. Now that got wet coming over, and we put it in the dryer and then put it out for him.
But it's really good if it's something that smells a bit like home. So unfortunately oh no, it does smell like home. It was wet, it got dried, it didn't actually get washed because that's a familiar smell for him. That's the one that he always uses when he goes to a show. So that's trying to keep it familiar for him. Just going to use that tray. You can see his little water dish there and his food dish. They won't eat very much when they first arrive. Don't freak out if they don't want to eat much. It's the same as when, cats come to visit us, they don't normally eat much. I don't know why I'm videoing this cat going to the toilet. Let's go look at the other ones. Here we have Jessie and Cuthbert, and they have 2 of these pop-up tents. These tents are from Kmart. They cost me $20. There's plenty of room in them. The cats are happy in them. They're comfortable. I think it would be stressful for them to be running around in an unfamiliar environment, but this keeps them nice and contained and happy. Now these ones, I've got 2 together here because I've got 2 kittens in here and they like a bit more space. So what I've done is they have a zipper door. Just so I get a picture of that. They've got like a zippy door there. And I've unzipped the door on both sides and put the flap up, and then I have fell back clips holding them together. And then for the bottom part, I don't think you'll be able to see it, but at the very bottom here, there is a fold back clip holding them together. They'll put my hand in there and put it on the inside. So that's how I do it. That's how I've got 2 joined together, and they've got their food and water in this side, and their litter tray, which I'm about to change, and then they've got their bedding on the other side. They're happy in there. Hello, Jessie. Jessie and Cuthbert are happy in there. They've got their bedding that came in their cat carriers as well to sleep on. So again, it smells a bit familiar. It's cozy for them. They're happy. Might pop a toy in there for them later. They have, the water dish. Okay, I'm going to unzip this one. It's really easy just to unzip them, get the stuff in and out, and we have a water dish in there. You can see the water dish doesn't have very much water in it because being in an unfamiliar surrounding and being in close proximity to everything, and people say you can't put their litter tray near their food. Well, it actually is okay. It's not their preferred place, but it's not like they're going to go shit somewhere else because the litter tray's there. They're quite happy with that. But their water, they will actually scrape at the litter tray. You can see litter on the floor of the pen. They'll scrape at that and they might tip their water over, and it can make a real mess. And being in unfamiliar surroundings, that's the kind of thing that kind of happens. So it's good to just put a little bit in and keep topping it up with a little bit every time. You can see this is their kitchen area, kitchen and bathroom, and then that's their lounge room. Jessie, Cuthbert, they're loving it. Look at them, so cute in there. Guys. So I'm just coming in to do their litter trays, and the other cats that are staying here as well, I've just been around and got the girls to dump their litter trays into the bag, and we have a bag of litter, the dirty litter. I'm just about to change this tray. Just zip this on. Change their tray, and I have this bag of litter here. We've gone around and done all the trays for all the cats that are staying here and put it into that bag, seal it all up tight, and then put it in the outside bin so there's no odour and no mess, because you want to keep the property as nice as possible. We've also vacuumed up some spilt litter that we had, and we're just trying to keep everything nice and clean and tidy. When you have these pop-up tents, if you have cats that are escape artists, mine are, they're pretty lazy, pretty casual, aren't you? Good boy. You can put a pin in them. So I have a pin here in case I need it. This was when, last time I used it, they were outside. So if you have a pin, you can actually pin the thing closed. When they have 2 zippers, you can put, I don't think there's an example of this, but when they have 2 zippers, oh yeah, here we go. So when there's 2 zippers, like this one has 2 zippers, if the cat gets their claw in there, they can actually open it up and get out. So take the safety pin and put it through each of the hole bits, and then that's sealed up. And they can move it around, but they can't get out. So if you have an escape artist, because occasionally you will have to have them outside. Now, if Herbert we didn't know what the situation was when we got here. If we needed to, Herbert could have gone in the back patio here. It's really lovely, it's quite enclosed, it's great, but being outside, you want to be 100% sure that they are secure and can't get out, and can't get away. Because he is smelly. He hasn't used that tray after all that scraping, but all it takes is for him to pee in that tray, and it's really smelly because he is a very active stud cat. These guys have peed in their tray, but it doesn't smell that bad because they're kittens and they don't have that stud cat odour, but it still smells bad. So there they are, they're enjoying it. Hello guys. I've got some toys in my suitcase I'm going to grab out for them. We've got our cages over here. We're going to get them set up so that we can take them to the show and not have too much fuss tomorrow. Get my curtains out, then I'm going to get the cats out and give them a groom. So that's how I keep them when we go to a national show.
And the glass of red.
Cheers, Herbert.
Cheers, Herbert.
Cheers, Herbert. We're just grooming.
Cheers.
We're just grooming Herbert ready for the show tomorrow. So when you're traveling with your cats, you have to bring small amounts of stuff with you. The little sprays and decant things into little containers like I've got over here. And you don't want to bring like big, huge bottles of stuff. Herbert's getting ready for tomorrow, so he's been all prepped and preened. Good boy. And that towel is just the one that was in his carrier when we flew over. So you don't have to have lots of things. You can reuse stuff and make do. And so that you don't have to carry too much, because it's a lot to bring 3 cats and yourself to a cat show interstate. It's a lot of things that you need to bring. So I've got all of his grooming stuff. I've got my little grooming thing. I've got my little, that's my I Envy. I get the little travel size ones. They're really good to travel with because they're really small. Got my little spray here. This is my cat mate spray for deodorizing things, which is in a really cute little bottle. It's my secret spray. You are not allowed to know what that is. And there's Herbert. Herbie. And here's Vicky. Vicky's holding Herbert and having some wine while she holds him. Smile, Vicky.
Hello.
Good boy.
What are you doing? Hey, I'm going to sleep.
He's so lazy.
Patting him. He's
Good boy. Just parked the car and we are going into the hall. We've got our cats and we've got to go in and set up. We've got our numbers. We've got to find out where we're supposed to be and start setting up. This is Jessie and she is being judged by Sue Barr, and Sue's from Tasmania.
Put in your breeder number, this pack number, you put whether you want to pay. And then we send them for you to go back through. Okay. I'll make it coming up.
No. Oh, does that mean if I'm going to I've got a blue one?
Could do, but we choose not to because we've got
Yeah.
but she's on we can do part of
And you did it. Actually, it was funny.
certain areas
And I just don't know,
so I have an ex-husband